Hey, wildlings. So I wanted to come on today and talk a little bit about what it feels like to be on the other side of the processing, on the other side of the going through the shadow and deep into, all the things that we really don't want to talk about. We really don't want to share, which is like our deepest, darkest secrets and feelings and all of those things that you just also really don't have time for. And that's one of the things that I really um, want people to take away from this. And the main, really overarching piece of all my work is that when you finally dedicate time to yourself and say, I am worthy of having 2 hours to myself on Sunday to process my emotions and thoughts and feelings through artwork, when you're able to do that, that's when you reach a different level of self-care, because we all know the self-care that is, showing up and maybe buying ourselves a latte, or for me it's like going and getting the right kind of weed is a really intense piece of my self-care. But one of the things that I've never really talked about, and I mean, yes, I have programs dedicated to this, but I've never really talked about how journaling helps me process, how art helps me process, how creativity, and even for me about being here and sharing my wisdom, that's a part of my process too. And I want to help people understand that all of these things are a part of healing your wounds and your trauma. And you can do the spells and you can do the things to bring in love and you can do all of those things. But if you're not dedicated to yourself, and if you're not dedicated and committed to giving yourself that time to do those things, then it's just surfacey self-care. And I did surfacey self-care for a very long time because I thought I was actually, doing the things. And we do it in the spiritual community by purchasing ourselves. We'll purchase ourselves some, um, spiritual smelling things because that feels good. But we could save that money and maybe take a class that teaches me how to regulate my emotions a little bit. Or, because this is quick and easy and gives us that little kick. The work that I'm asking for people to kind of commit to in the shedding, and then again in Daydream Club, if you decide to join, is softening yourself for yourself. The reason why I decided to do Daydream Club is because I realized that none of us have soft spaces. Like if you're a working professional and you are 9 to 5, and when you get home, all you're doing is taking care of your kids or your cats or your like the responsibilities that you have at home. And, your morning is just spent getting ready for that work day. And there's really not a lot of time to squeeze room for ourselves. And I know that. I have lived that life intimately. I have done the worst of it. I overcommitted to everybody else, my family, my friends, my community, and I didn't commit anything to myself. And it's why I had such an epic burnout. And I mean, that was coming for 46 years. It's understandable. I had no idea I had autism or ADHD. I had no idea what I was asking my body to do. So, of course, if you're pushing your body as hard as I was pushing it after 47 years, your body is just going to say no. And that's what happened to me. So now, on the other side of the healing, and I had an experience this week that really kind of solidified for me, like, oh, you are here. It's not just in your head, it's actually in your body too. And you can live past these moments that would have rattled me so hard before and would have shook me and would have made me come undone. And I'm just sitting here going, like, that was totally okay. Like, yeah, that was rough. Yeah, I didn't want to experience what I experienced on social media. And I really struck, Odie, come here. What do you have? What is that? No. Odie, come here. I'm just going to have to let it go. And now I have to close the doors better because that's my fault. Anywho, and don't worry, it's Play-Doh. He won't die. It's just salty goodness. So, and this is another thing, learning how to let things go. The little things. I would never before have allowed I was famous for getting up and leaving my lives because everything else was important. And that's what I didn't realize I was doing with my communities, with my friends, with my family, that I was saying, everybody is more important than me. What do you need? And, you know, I do shame some people for going as hard as they did because those takers know who they are and they took way too much. And friends don't do that. So I know now that I have to have way stricter boundaries with everything. Like everything. Even with my kid and wanting to cuddle, like, yes, if he were a 6-year old, 7-year old, 8-year old, I would be like, cuddle, cuddle, cuddle all the time. But when the cuddle time is when wanting to be done when I'm just getting ready for my first daydream club, I have to set a boundary and say, no, I need some time to just settle myself before my class. So can you please go and find something else to do? And maybe later, after I've done all my work, after I've cooked dinner, and because we're a divergent household, we have to be very clear verbally with what we're asking and what we're telling because we all misinterpret all the time. And now that I've realized that that is what we're doing as a family, we're constantly misinterpreting each other's offerings of help or, criticisms that somebody else may not see as a criticism, like as a suggestion, but somebody takes it as a criticism. All of those things are much easier to handle because I did the shadow work, because I gave myself space to be creative. And I truly do believe that trial run on the weekend, last weekend, I did a technical trial run for the Daydream Club that went amazingly, by the way. I'm actually very excited about all of it. But what that gave me was a confidence. I'm confident here. Like creating any sort of artwork, even though that's not what I show, that's not what I have been known for. I'm confident doing all of that stuff because that that was my original training. That was the original, like, my core memories as somebody going to school was learning all about art and design and fabrication and like different forms of media. This is where I'm happy, where I don't even have to think. I just get to create and play. And I don't think as adults we allow ourselves that time and space just to play and be and not think And I want to create those spaces. And really, that's what Daydream Club is. So even if you can't make it here in person and come and use the community craft board, you can join online for $3 a month. Not a class, not a week, a month. So every single Sunday, you can hop on and co regulate yourself and process some stuff in community. You get access to the playlist and the all the principles that I create, and you'll be able to hear all the teachings that I offer. We don't record the sessions, so it's a safe space. We allow, I think there's up to 200 people allowed, my tongue. These are my hard days. I have 3 days in the month, and if you do the actual trickle sacking, oh my God, my words. I'm on the 3 days where my brain just doesn't work. And I really do have to think about the words that come out of my mouth. And you'll see me like, I have to look off and I'm actually literally slotting the words as I kind of like 3 or 4 words ahead. And I don't usually have to do that. Um, at these times, I try to use cannabis that helps my cognitive functions, but there's only so much you can do when my hormones are the way they are. And my body is in the healing place that it is. And I've learned what my capacity is. And I've learned how far I can push myself. So now I know that I can't really do any of the hard work today. I can do some of the fun stuff, like I'll make some posters and flyers for the room, and I'll maybe have a couple conversations on social media, but I do not allow myself, which is pretty crazy because the fight was, well, I don't even want to call it a fight. It was a discussion. Um, was a couple days ago, and that's usually the days where my brain doesn't function, but I was able to stay in my body. I was able to stand in my power and use the wisdom that I have in my brain, and that's something that I have always struggled with. When conflict happens, it's like I became a 6-year-old child all over again, and it would be like my brain would literally go back to what it would be like when you were 6 years old, and I had zero access to any of the words that I can usually use to, help myself in those situations. It was all gone. And now I know that I can walk through these situations and handle myself and say the right things and be the right tone and not sound aggressive because I've done my shadow work. I've worked through the things that really triggered me. I can look at them now and go, holy shit, like that interaction on social, like I would not have handled that well. Um, and you go on the attack instead of observing, and you kind of like get really defensive, or and I probably do think I maybe over explained myself a little bit, but that's just autism. And that's also something I want people to understand is there is a lot more in forgiving yourself for things than there is in forgiving other people. Like, I have to forgive myself all the time for not being able to have the capacity to do certain things anymore. And I'm not like giving up on myself. I'm not saying like, oh, I'll never be able to do it again. But if I continue to stress myself out about the things that I can't do right now because I'm in that perimenopausal stage where my hormones are totally out of whack and I'm just about to move into the menopause stage where everything kind of regulates, my brain isn't functioning at its highest capacity. So I have to have forgiveness for myself that I can't work as hard. Like, you know, way back in the day, like woo shop days, I would have had a marketing plan. I would have had a marketing assistant. They would have pushed shit. I would have been on like 3 different accounts, liking all my stuff. I'd be pushing, pushing, pushing. I'd be interacting with everybody. And this is so very different. This just feels really right in my body. And I feel like I don't have to push it, that I don't. And I'm very content with already who's in the community and what we already have created together. It like totally lights me up. If I, like I said to somebody, um, somebody was kind of coming at me with the, well, how many people do you think you want? And like, should we be putting flyers up and I'm like, honestly, this is for me. If other people show up and come and participate on Sundays between 10 and noon, I'll just be like so friggin' happy. This is for me. This is for me to sit down and regulate and draw and do the things and do one of my hyper focuses, which is creativity, which is art. And I can get rid of some of this excess energy that is stored in my body from decades of not listening to my body. And I can put it into some awesome art, and I can put it into some awesome teaching, and I can put it into sharing in my community instead of like raging at the world for the way my life ended up, right? Or raging at the world because we're probably headed into a recession. Or, I think actually Canada is going to do pretty good. Don't you worry. It's good. I do believe it's going to be hard, but I think Canada is going to end up being in a way better position than it started out in. So that's really exciting for me. I actually feel a lot more excitement in the consciousness. Oh, this is going to bug me. Okay. I feel a lot more excitedness and a lot of other people are seeing clarity too. A lot of other people are starting to see their power and their strength and what they're capable of and what we're capable of doing in community. And I will share some experiences that I've been having in Daydream Club. But the more that I practice just being creative and being in this restful receiving place, the more things line up and the more I'm able to see very clearly the next step. So the other night I asked for the next step and it showed up the very next morning. And I'll download that video and post it so you can kind of see. I was saying that with these gifts always comes like you have to give something to get something, right? And now I'm at this point that I know I know if I get something really good, something is like going to be like, oh God. So not that I'm like bracing for it anymore, but I'm more just like, okay, what is it? And this week it was a really intense conversation on the social media and a headache. And that's what I had to pay for that really easy kind of like, here you go, information. And I'm not oblivious to how the body works. So I'm also going and seeing a neurobiologist because I actually just want to know what's actually happening in my brain, because when I have these really massive cognitive like bursts, I get pain on the right side of my head and it feels like sinus pressure. And I've just got to wonder, oh, I just saw what that is. It is my lymph system because that's why okay. It's my lymph system, guys. Christiane, I will message you because Christiane gets it too. Anywho, so I'm going to leave you with this. Give yourself space. Allow yourself the time to process what happened during the week. And when you can sit down and journal or draw or just let go, like we have all sorts of coloring books. Just come and color. You can sit on the couch. We've got like clipboards. You can sit on the couch with a bunch of pencil crayons, listen to the music. Sometimes we might do a meditation. Sometimes we may go for a walk in the forest if you're here. Um, I don't know. It's going to be kind of led by who shows up and who's in the group and how many are online, how many are in person. Um, but yeah, I'm just going to try to have fun with it because on the back half of my life, I turned 50 in February. I want to have way more fun. I want to play more. I want to smile more. I want to have experiences. And the only way to do that is to find your joy. So come and join us in Daydream Club. Whether you're participating online or whether you're participating in person, there is a spot for you. So please come. This Sunday, 10 till noon, you can sign up in the community, or you can just, if you're local, you can just hop on over here at that time. So bye for now. And please RSVP if you're coming, just so we know how much space we need to have available for people. Um, I'm so excited, and I've never felt more me and more like just comfortable and ready to do this, because I know this is kind of what I've been waiting for. So bye for now, wildlings. Oh, Odie.